Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, I don't know what happens. Every once in a while, I keep... Now I'm going to wave my hand in front of this camera to see if it's actually picking it up. But it is, which is good. Yeah, I turned this on and was getting everything configured in OBS, and then I noticed at one point, you know, obviously whenever I reach up to grab the mouse or play with the little tablet phone thing that's over here, obviously I can see my hand moving across the screen, right? And I noticed on my little preview on OBS, I'm like, I ain't got no fingers. It wasn't showing any movement, so I figured something probably fouled up, and of course the feed froze. So I believe I've gotten it fixed. I got it working now, so we should be good. Everything should be bueno. And I can see a smaller preview, the slight delay on it on the Picarto little dashboard that I have. I can see chat and everything from as well. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. I am LouisKohn, former furry author extraordinaire, or whatever the hell, I don't know. This is really only my third Picarto stream, my second drawing. I got a little bit ambitious drawing 2 characters, pencil art here. I did this on Saturday, Buster and Babs Bunny from Tiny Toon Adventures. And this took about 2 hours, like an hour and 50 minutes, 45 minutes just about. And the week prior to that, you know, 2 hours open and shut, I did, I actually went and got it this time. I mentioned last week I put it away in my portfolio. For this one, I did this drawing of Gadget from Rescue Rangers. And, you know, obviously this is a finished thing. Did the pencil art, and then did the ink and everything on it, all in one stream. Of course, it's also only one character, so, you know. When I decided to go for 2 characters, I realized I was going to keep everybody here all night. The stream was going to be running a little bit long, so out of respect for, you know, your time and my own, I decided to wind it down early and say I'll pick up the line art or the ink at some other point in the future. I wasn't sure if I was going to wait all the way until Saturday to do it, or if I was just going to find some time during the week to get it done. Figured I didn't really have a whole lot going on this week. You know, I tied up some loose ends on some other projects, you know, Sunday through Tuesday, and figured I could probably kick back a bit and, you know, at least do the ink for this. I really don't anticipate the ink is going to take a super duper long time to do. This might just be like a, you know, maybe like a 1 hour stream. If I did Gadget start to finish, pencil art and ink all in about 2 hours, I figured, you know, it wasn't exactly 60-60. It was more like a, you know, 80-40 split, so it's not going to take as long. It'll take about, you know, 2/3 the time to do this or whatever, so we'll see. We'll just have to see. Anyways, I hope everyone had a good weekend. How was your weekend? How was your weekend? Tell me, how did it go? Anyways, I figured the more I looked at this, obviously it's been sitting on my drafting table for the past several days, and of course, the bane of any artist is having to look at your own work. And the more you look at it, the more you just kind of realize you start to find problems with it. Hell, you know, Gadget's been inside of my portfolio for a week and a half. And the more I look at that, the more I'm like, yeah, there's some things I could have done better on that. So one thing I was toying with, I didn't draw Buster's teeth when we did the stream a few days ago, but I wasn't sure, like, you know, Babs has her mouth closed, and so you can see her teeth, but I wanted to see if I did Buster's teeth, would it look, if it would look weird if I gave him his, you know, it doesn't look weird to me. You know, I've thought about this every time I walked across, you know, my place, and I would see this on my table. I'd be like, yeah, I kind of, it's the one thing I hate looking at. And I feel like it's not that I forgot to do his teeth, it's just that I wasn't sure if I should have done them because, you know, the different poses of the mouths. But yeah, now that, and I didn't want to visualize it either. I didn't want to do it when I wasn't streaming because I wanted all of the creative process to be documented, of course. So, anyways, yeah, I figured I got some of the references I did for the characters. I really don't need them anymore because now it's just gonna come down to putting the ink on the page, and of course I'll get the eraser, and we'll start taking things away as need be. So what pen did I use for Gadget? I mean, I'm pretty sure I used. So I have two different size Sharpies. So we'll do line art with the. I mean, it says fine point. Which is still kind of a thick point marker, but there's fine and then super fine and ultra fine, and then girl, you so fine. So, anyways, yeah. Let me see. I did the speech bubble. I just kind of just scratched that down. The best way I've found, your mileage may vary. I'm not exactly a comic book artist. I drew the bubble first and then tried to write the text to fill it in and tried to size it appropriately. The way I would prefer to do it would just be to write the lettering and then put the speech bubble around it, because that was because then if you ink the bubble and then the text only comes to right here, well then you kind of played yourself. Oh, hang on. Why did that camera? It blipped again. At what point did it? Hang on. What the hell? What is? Let me try to troubleshoot this. I don't actually know what the what does that do? Well, turn it off and turn it back on. I mean, you saw me draw the teeth. It froze after I drew the teeth. Is it the autofocus that's throwing it off? Let me see. If I turn off the autofocus, what is it that? How did I get that to restart earlier? Is what I want to know. How I managed to do that. I mean, I know you guys can still hear me because it's picking up the audio. There it is. Okay, so I just tried to set the frame rate and it didn't like that. So if I do that and then set the resolution to this, and it's just, now you've got my arm. What's making it? What's making it do that? We're just going to troubleshoot this live on the air, aren't we? That's great content. Let me just see something. Let me just see if unplugging this and plugging it back in will just fix it. The camera, not the computer. Yeah, that's just not working at all. Oh, well, there. No, that did something. Zoomed way in on the Miss Brisby card. Let me see. I set that to this. Okay, no, it didn't freeze again. Alright, one thing I may have noticed is that, the, OBS, more like BS. Yeah, let me, I'm kind of fighting for cable slack on this drafting table. The computer I have is, it's built inside of it, so it's not just a matter of, like moving a tower and stuff around. It's actually underneath this table. So, I'm kind of fighting for, the cable stuff, because if I try to move something around inside, it'll start to pull the monitor that's, like, just... You guys can't see, that's, like, right here to the left of the paper. I'm gonna hope that fixes it. Let me check OBS again. Yeah, it looks like it's working, but I'm moving my monitor around. I don't want to do that. Okay, we'll just tell you what I'm gonna do. Because I don't trust it. I'm going to put half my screen on OBS and half my screen on Picarto. Okay, anyway, so, yeah, that was an ordeal. I honestly think the problem might be slack, because the USB cord for that camera is pulled, like, super duper taut, and it might just be getting a bad connection, so I need to, I guess need to rewire the internals of this thing. We'll see. Anyways, okay, enough yammering. Let's go ahead and start inking our bunnies. It's not a euphemism for anything as far as I know. Let's see. So I'm going to start with Buster here. And this drafting table I got, I don't know if I mentioned it, I can't remember if I did. I got it from a charity shop, kind of local to where I am. And it was just like literally the same day it went out on the sales floor. It came home with me. I bought it. I was like, "You're only asking however much it is for that?" Because I think I actually told you guys about that, because I mentioned that the corners look nice on it, and the corners are maybe slightly, but the surface is pretty much pristine, which is exactly what you want in a drafting table. Because if there's any dings in the surface, it'll when you lay your paper down and stuff on it, of course, those imperfections will translate over into your work. And that's, to quote a wise, fast blue hedgehog, that's no good. Should draw some Sonic characters. How about that? I'll definitely have to study, I'll have to look at a lot of Sonic fan art. Which is, to say it's not like I haven't already, but... A lot of characters we could draw, We could draw a lot. And then, watch out for the Tails alert. We could draw Sonic, we could draw Tails, we could draw, I don't know, Wave. That's the thing, is, my favorite Sonic characters are, you can tell a lot You can tell a lot about somebody based on their favorite Sonic character. I've long held the belief that everybody has a Sonic the Hedgehog character crush, but not everybody is willing to admit to who that is. And then who that character is, of course, you can gauge a lot about the person in question when you manage to get that information out of them. You know, my favorite characters are Tikal and Wave. So, like, what does that say about me? Gee, Lou, that's awfully specific. It's kind of weird, isn't it? I guess it's almost like having like an anime crush, right? Because that's a thing that people talk about. They have their waifus or whatever. And the more obscure of a show that your anime waifu is from, well, the cooler you are, right? You know, you want to ideally you want to have a character that nobody's ever heard of. That way you can tell them about an anime they've never heard of before. Then it makes you look cool in comparison. I mean, it doesn't in the grand scheme of things. Like, to the outside world, to the greater world, bragging about an anime you've seen that somebody else hasn't seen, I think is as possibly far away from cool as you could actually get. But, within a very specific community, that is definitely a flex, as the kids would call it. My anime crush is Ryoko from the Tenchi series, by the way. Just in case you were wondering, I've got one of those too. Which is not, I feel like it's not as obscure of a pick as, the other characters I was just talking about. You haven't kept up with the extended Sonic universe? Has there ever been a cow character? It's a good question. No, it's not the... What was the Cabot's name from Tenchi Muyo? Ryo-Oki, I think. No, but you're close. My favorite character is Ryoko, the space pirate, whose ship is that cat. Cabot, sorry. Well, I mean, I like Kazooie too, but that's she's not a Sonic character. I mean, maybe as much as she would want to be, she's not one. If she was in the Sonic universe, I don't think she'd be a good guy. I feel like she would be one of those like neutral parties that, kind of like Knuckles, who just kind of helps whoever's convenient. See, Dr. Robotnik canonically tricked Knuckles into being against Sonic because Knuckles is kind of a big dumb idiot, but, if Dr. Robotnik said some shit about them to Kazooie, she'd be like, yeah, that seems plausible. Those people seem stupid. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know if there's a hooved character. Like a cow, a goat, a sheep, a deer. Was there not a sheep, Sonic? I want to say there was a sheep. But I could just be, I don't know. That could just be like a false memory. Again, my Sonic, I'm not all up to snuff on my Sonic knowledge. My Did You Know Gaming Sonic Edition. I'm gonna be thinking about that now. Like, there's there's Rotor, the walrus from the cartoon. Like, that's a weird pick. It's also weird to me that, like, the only, like, canon, like, Dragon Sonic character is, like, what's-her-face? Dulcie? Yeah, I like how we both mentioned rotor at the same time. Well, I mean, taking stream delay into account, of course. Did the South AM cartoon series ever have a conclusion? Or is that... Because I know Sonic Underground didn't. And the Adventures of just didn't have a plot. It was just, you know, a crappy cartoons, baby cartoon for babies. Isn't there a dragon form for the lizard in Superstars? Or is that... Are you talking... Wait, Superstars? You talking about Vector? The crocodile? Or, wait, Espio. Espio the chameleon, is that the quote-unquote lizard? I don't know, does Espio turn into a dragon? I have Sonic Superstars, and I have neglected to play it. You want to know how bad I am about it? I have Sonic Mania. I think that game came out like a decade ago, I think, is when that game came out, and I have not played Mania. I've seen it played through, you know. I know about it. I know all the... I can do the Leo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme for all the little references and in-jokes they have, even the really obscure ones, but I have not played Sonic Mania. I do think it's funny, though, that in the little trailer for Sonic Mania, they, the elevator that they get in, it shows, you know, Sonic, what, 1, 2, 3, and then K for Sonic and Knuckles, and it very conveniently leaves out 4. We don't talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 4, okay? That game is, you know, as far as collectively, as far as everyone's concerned, that game doesn't exist. Wait, did the stream? No, hang on. I'm not seeing drop frames. I'm not seeing nothing weird on my end. Let's see. Let's see. Let me wave my hand. Yeah, I'm seeing the count go. I mean, I'm like go like steady in terms of like bit rate. I don't know. Anybody else seeing an issue with it, or it might just be a you problem? I don't. Now I'm worried though. If it's, I'm just be staring at my stream health counter. There. Okay. So it was a you problem. Spoilers. Yeah. So the character, what her name is Trip, and her whole character archetype is that she's clumsy because her name is Trip. Okay. I don't recognize it. Maybe if I saw artwork of her, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's who that is. But I don't think I've seen Trip. What, Hawkins? Like the 3DO guy? As much as I like Buster and Babs Bunny, they're not even my favorite characters from the show. I think I mentioned this over the weekend. My favorite character is actually Fifi. Random point of trivia, a little bit of fandom trivia for you. Did you know that when it comes to pejorative terms for furries from within the fandom, did you know that skunk fucker is believed to be the first one? Like the first what slur? I guess that people call each other to like demean others in the furry fandom. It was that. If you weren't there for it, there's definitely an abundance of skunk girls, early fandom. Thanks probably in part to Sabrina Online. I probably shouldn't be doing this and then moving my... I mean, it's a Sharpie. It dries really fast, but I feel like I probably shouldn't be, like, just putting my... I still got to get one of those gloves, you know? I got to get... I'm not a real artist if I don't have a glove. You know, I got to have a cool little thing to wear. depending on what I'm doing this weekend, maybe I'll make a trip out to Hobby Lobby and I'll get one. We'll see. See if I can pencil it in. It's looking good pretty far. I'm looking at this, I'm not hating it. That's gonna, I believe I'm slowly forming kind of a running gag forward stroke catchphrase for this little adventurous stream of mine. I don't hate it. You guys are welcome to say that too. If I'm drawing stuff and you think it looks good, you can be like, wow, Louis, I don't hate it. I'm like, thanks dude, me neither. This is, I mean, I hesitate, I don't want to jinx it, and well, here, like a knock on wood. This whole thing is made of real wood, actual wood, not particle board. This ain't no IKEA drafting table. You know, but I hesitate to jinx it and say, oh yeah, this is just the easy part. Because I've already done the hard part would be doing the lines, right? Like the pencil work, you have to like visualize the character in your head and then put it onto paper. Of course, you know, complete full disclosure for things like their feet and their faces and stuff like that. I got pictures of these characters I can scroll through on my phone over there, and I can kind of see what, you know, a sample for like how their faces are put together and like where their nose goes relative, you know, size of their eyes compared to the rest of their head, just all that kind of stuff. I can just have it at a glance. So I'm not just sitting here just staring at the wall and being like, oh yeah, that's what they look like. I do have a little bit of help. Tail. There we go. Trip's super form is a well. Thanks, Picarto. Does Picarto not let you post links? Do I have my chat set to like not? Ah, cool. Yeah, I'm on a fandom.com knows I'm on a VPN, so it's okay. Trip the Sun Gazer. I'm going to be honest with you, I have never seen this character before in my life. I'm looking right at her, I'm like, who? That's a cool little dragon she's got, though. I mean, honestly, the base character looks, I'm going to be brutally honest here, it looks kind of stupid. Like, it doesn't even look like a lizard, but the dragon is, I mean, she almost looks like a Spyro Reignited character. That's not an insult, you know. If I said she looked like a Skylanders character, then, you know, gloves would be off. That's a super diss. Oh, cool character, dude. Cool OC. Looks like a Skylanders character. If somebody told me that, I'd be like, alright, dude, you're banned. Perma-banned. I'm gonna subpoena Picarto for your connection details. You're gonna be fully doxxed, buddy. I do not forgive. I do not forget. Okay. I have over 9,000 character crushes, and that character's not one of them. I mean, I am enjoying doing this. It's a nice little excursion. I just gotta think of, well, that was the 4chan meme, right? They don't forgive, they don't forget. You know, it's over 9,000. Man, you could probably find the video somewhere. Oprah Winfrey got, of course, what other Oprahs could there possibly be? Oprah Winfrey on her show, she kind of got trolled into like talking about kids' safety online. This is a long ass time ago, and you know, 4chan, people from there like sent in like, you know, like a hot tip, like a news tip for something for her to talk about on the show. she was talking about child safety online, and she was like, we have a message. This person calls themselves anonymous. He says he does not forgive, he does not forget. His group has over 9,000 penises, and they're all blanking children. She actually says that on her show. I don't know. It's kind of like that old. It's like that classic 4chan meme of like the exploding yellow van and the internet hate factory, the internet hate machine, whatever it was called. Buy a dog. All those like classic stupid memes. Good, clean fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's Oprah. She's not gonna. This was like in the 2000s. Oprah's not in on the meme. It's just like wine moms. Middle class wine moms are just watching Oprah because they don't have a job because their husband makes all the money, so they just sit around all day watching their stories. The people who on Facebook set their employment status to stay-at-home mom at mom. That's Oprah's. That's her bread and butter right there. That's her target demo. Looks, honestly, Buster, not looking bad. I'm digging it. I do gotta put. I'm gonna put the little little highlights on his eyes though. The little shines. Is that Actraiser right here? Yeah. I mean, I didn't need to check. I would recognize that anytime I heard it. Alright. Buster's looking good. Now we'll do Babs. And I kind of can't really adjust the placement of the paper because it's it's kind of lined up perfectly with the camera. So let me I have a little. I'm sitting on a bar stool, as I'm sure longtime viewers of this stream know. I have a bar stool that Babs is directly in front of the drawer in front of this table, so I have to sit awkward. I don't think I started with the nose on Buster when I was inking it. I think I went with the tops of his ears. Oh, had a couple of blips, had a couple of drop frames. That's okay. Yeah, I was having internet connection problems for the past couple of weeks. It's kind of been an issue. I think they've kind of lightened up. They seem to have kind of, here, knock on wood, seem to have kind of fixed themselves. I guess we'll see. I should probably start with the tops of her ears because it's kind of worked down. Whenever I draw the pencil lines, if you haven't seen whenever I start drawing the characters, I usually start with the head with the guidelines with the cross in the front, and then start with the center of the face and kind of work out from there, and then kind of work down. But I don't know, it's just the way I've always done it. Yeah, the Spectrum internet service was kind of junky, but it's only like a couple dozen frames that have dropped, and the little calculator at the bottom, the rolling average says like less than 1% of the stream. And that just could be, just the regular cost of doing business, all things considered. Let's see. It had it's still the ActRaiser music, or the remix of it. If you've never played ActRaiser, that was I remember when it was new, I rented it when I was younger, and I was like, I liked it, but like I just didn't like to play it. I thought the town building segments were really boring, and then in hindsight now, I'm like, nah, that's probably one of the most innovative parts of the game. Because, side-scrolling hack-and-slash games, it's a dime a dozen on those systems back in the day. I think I first saw ActRaiser on Nick Arcade, actually. I think it was on that show. And Nick Arcade, as I came to find out as I got older, ran kind of like pared down versions of games that were kind of locked into certain modes. So, ActRaiser was only on the side-scrolling action stages, I think. Obviously, building a town, I don't even think Phil Moore could sell that thing up. He'd be over there making wacky sound effects and stuff like that, but dude, no one wants to watch you build a city, So I think I saw that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to rent that game. That looks awesome. And it was. But I don't think I was the right, age or mindset. I wasn't at the right stage of life to appreciate ActRaiser when it was new. Tell you what I was old enough to appreciate when it was new, and it was on Nick Arcade, and that was Sonic the Hedgehog, okay? I remember seeing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Nick Arcade. God, that was such an early prototype of that guy. Looking back in hindsight, I'm surprised how I didn't even notice that, I think it was Melissa Joan Hart was on that episode, because Nickelodeon was doing a cross-promotion with their other shows. And she was playing on Emerald Hill Zone, but it was playing like Starlight's music because the game was still like literally built inside of the Sonic 1 engine. It was still running on that. I don't know how I didn't notice that as a kid, because I would have picked up on that being like, hey, isn't that the other music? According to Phil, the evil Dr. Robotnik has kidnapped all the creatures of the forest and turned them into robots, or however he phrased it. He did just say Robotnik, though. Yes, Melissa Joan Hart was Clarissa on Clarissa Explains It All, and she also was Sabrina on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She was the title and titular character of both of those shows. I will hold true to this day that the theme song to Clarissa Explains It All is probably one of the best songs of the 90s. If you haven't heard it, do yourself a favor and go look it up. You might want to get a sheet of lyrics out, though, to follow along. Salem was a pretty good character on Sabrina. That was the cat, right? Salem the cat? Of course you would say that. Clarissa was cool though. I remember that show. Like, that was a great show. There's a lot of the jokes are kind of dated because, of course, the era that the show takes place in at the time. But she was cool. She had a cool computer. Her best friend came to visit her by climbing up a ladder to get into her window. I was like, that was cool. I lived on the second floor of my parents' house when I was younger. It's like, I want my friends to ride their bikes over and climb a ladder to come get in my house. You had, oh dude, you had a LimeWire folder full of TV show themes from the 90s. Clarissa was in there. I liked what other Nickelodeon shows had a good theme song? I liked Double Dare. Double Dare was pretty, you know, it's pretty high energy. It definitely, listening to that music definitely makes me want to you know, go run through a kiddie pool full of Nickelodeon gack to find a little flag. I want that bike. I want to go to space camp. What even was that? What was space camp? I know they didn't send you to space. That's what everybody wanted. But, like, I know that, like, what do they do? Do they let you just jump on a big trampoline or something and be like, if you were on the moon, you know, this is kind of what it'd be like. Pretty boss, huh? What was that kid's name? The ladder. Is it Sam? Pretty sure the actor's name was Sean O'Neill. He was like, he's one of those child actors that just never really had a career after his one big hit. I think he was in that comedy with like Burt Reynolds, like Cop and a Half or something. Dude, the Carmen Sandiego theme, man. Rockapella. If you're gonna only have one hit, like, that's kind of the one you want. You know what I mean? No instruments, by the way. That's crazy. I mean, that's talent. All I'm saying is that you couldn't get Grok to make the Carmen Sandiego theme. It was just a crazy time to be alive. It's like you have all these crazy sounds that you can do, you know, musically in terms of like the context of the 90s and all that. The TV show company is like, who are we going to get to do the song to this cartoon? How about these guys that just, you know, just do up, but they just do that, you know? No instruments, they just do it all with their mouth. Awesome, sign them up. Like that, literally the Today Show hired that band to just do a cover of their own song. One of the correspondents, was it Matt Lauer, I think? The guy that turned out to be like a sex pest or something? I don't know if that was what it was. He got outed as something and then he was like quietly fired from the show or whatever. But like, he would flex on people and be like a news correspondent and just for like a week would just be in a different place like every morning and just like broadcast live from wherever he was, and he would give some hints to like Al Roker and the other anchors or whatever and get them to try to guess where he was. And like his little segment had its own little opening ditty that was just a cover of the Carmen Sandiego theme by the same guys, and it was Where in the World is Matt Lauer? It was cool. I remember seeing it before school a lot when I was, you know, when I was in grade school. I never got any of the things right. Like, where the hell is Machu Picchu? You know? Was that a Pokemon? I don't know. I think I've heard the theme to Ghost Writer, not Ghost Rider with Hasselhoff or whatever, which is also a bop of a theme song. I remember you telling me about Ghost Writer. But you really kind of can't be lazy about how you say that. And then there's also like the Carmen Sandiego had like a game show. I remember that. Like a geography game show. It was on like PBS or something. Alright, I'm getting awfully close to this hand I drew on Babs that I'm like not like super duper fond of. So I'm gonna ink this part of it. I'm gonna kind of very slowly that was the outside of that finger. Okay. Then we had another finger that was like right here. And then that's that. And then I did one more, like... I don't know. That's... Sure, you know, I committed it. I put it into ink. I just... as I was talking about all these amazing banger theme songs, I was staring at that hand being like, yeah, I'm going to have to do that in a second. And I was figuring like, that's it, dude. No guts, no glory. I'm going to draw it the way it is, and if it looks terrible, I don't care. I'd like to see you do better, okay? And then that's her tail. She has like a little... Babs has like a little pom-pom, little koosh ball tail. And then Buster has the more kind of pointed, kind of like a jackrabbit tail. And of course you got to draw the chestular region. A little bit of that. I don't know, did I get the shape right? Looks a little strange. Oh well. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Okay, how did I do this? I kind of got... I think I kind of had something like that. Okay, 'cause she's got like a sleeve right here. This one, I drew this... I was drawing this hand a lot. I think that's what I got there. I think that's probably... Yeah, that looks fine. That looks fine. I mean, that's kind of the tricky parts of the ink process done. How long have I been streaming? 48 minutes? Well, it's not going to take an hour, I guess. You know, it's... We'll see. I don't think the cross-hatching, I don't think, takes too long. Maybe I just got a bad memory. You know, I don't know. I do remember getting hung up on drawing Babs's feet because as I was drawing these characters and doing the pencil lines, I was like, you know, I don't want to draw them in the exact same pose. I wanted them to both kind of be like sarcastic, but not the same kind of pose. And I focused on Babs's feet for like way too long. I didn't mean that in a weird way, by the way. I just you know. Just that I kept drawing and redrawing this part of her over and over again. Until I eventually, say it with me, didn't hate it. Should probably... Mood art is hard, yeah. I need to stop being lazy and start painting again. You know, I showed off that the background I was working on. Man, that was like a month and a half, almost 2 months ago now. I haven't done anything with it. I mean, I have the character, I have all the kind of the pose references and stuff that I want to do for that. I just need to do it. And that's the thing, is that, like, you know, painting is a totally different skill set to, like, drawing. And you're going to have a little bit of it because, you know, you can freestyle it if you want, but I find it helps to, like, sketch something down and then, you know, paint that within the lines. But, you know, painting is like a layering process. You have to envision, like, what's going to be in the backdrop, and then even though parts that's going to be covered up, you got to paint the whole thing, and then paint on top of that, and then maybe paint on top of that. You know, it's, of course, that's just, I use like acrylic and stuff like that. If you were doing watercolor, obviously that's not the way to do it. You wind up with a lot of brown that way. A lot of the colors are going to mix. There we go. It's not too bad. Am I missing anything on Babs before I decide to start, like, taking an eraser? Oh, I guess I could do the text. I'll do the speech bubble between them. No relation. If you haven't seen Tiny Toons, like, that's their catchphrase when they introduce themselves. They're always kind of a package deal. I'm Buster Bunny, I'm Babs Bunny, and then they both pause. No relation. Or they'll say that. Somebody will ask if they're related. They'll say no. Oh yeah, animation cells were done backwards. Yeah, I know that. Everything's a skill set. You know, you know, not to knock digital art. Digital art is, again, digital art is a skill set. You know, there's a lot of layering involved in that. And you draw the background and you draw your guidelines, and, you know, when you draw it on, you know, digital art, the guidelines I did for the line art, like for pencil, you'd put that on one layer and then you make a new layer on top of that, lock the back one, trace over it just like I'm doing with the Sharpie, you know, and then on top of that you can put a layer underneath that line art. Now you can delete the one that's the guidelines, then underneath the line art you did, put your color, you know, and then you can have multiple layers of that, or that's just up to how you want to do the color. But there is a certain I don't know, skill set that comes with doing traditional art, because there's no undo button on a piece of paper. And if you're drawing it with pencil, there kind of is. You know, you can get out an eraser, but you mess up the ink, it's like, you better make that into something, buddy. Better make it look good. Let's see. All right, I'm going to set this down. I don't think I need that one anymore. Now I'm going to readjust my stool, and I'm going to erase. I figure, like, they're both probably dry, but I did Buster, then I did Babs, so when we do the cross-hatching and, you know, shading and stuff like that, I'll do them in the same order too. This is also kind of cool, you know, like whenever you do, this would be like, again, like with the digital art, when you like delete your guideline layer, or you disable it so you don't see it, you kind of see like just what the final lines look like. It's fun. Yeah, that's a fun thing. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but I feel like there's been like no music aside from like ActRaiser that was playing earlier that I noticed. I think I may have seen, I think there was a Mega Man song on at one point. Something like that, I don't know. course, this is also the part where, like, when you're erasing your guidelines and stuff like that, if you forgot to ink something, this is when you'll find out really fast. Oh, I got the music is kind of low. See, let me turn it up a little bit. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to try to fight with it as I was. Hang on. I didn't want to fight with it when I was streaming, because OBS didn't save my. They didn't save my settings after my first stream. Well, I heard the meme. He said it. Is that Star Fox? Maybe I should draw Falco. I like Falco. I don't know. This is, this computer that's inside this drafting table that I have is really, it's kind of a weird piecemeal kind of thing. It's kind of made from hand-me-down parts, and then, like I said, I've never really kind of built something non-standard, putting it in a table, like a drafting table. It's kind of a weird thing. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. And then it's also running on Ubuntu. I'm trying to move away from Windows because I'm really just not feeling 11. Okay, I use it at work. I'm like, nah, I'm good. All right, so let me get my smaller Sharpie out. We'll do Babs in a second. And I got the slightly, what is this one? Extra fine point, ultra fine, extra fine, super fine, so fine. Okay, so kind of going to invent some shadows on Buster here. I'm kind of picturing the source of the light being this text bubble. So it's kind of coming down this way and then kind of coming down this way. And that might make it easier. I didn't know what the deal was with OBS, like not really saving my my profile settings or scene settings or whatever you want to call it. It's a little frustrating. It's also, I try to be mindful of that because my microphone is actually the camera that's mounted on this arm right up there. I don't have a dedicated mic because I was like, there's really no place to put it. So, like I kind of mentioned when we were doing the gadget cross-hatching and line art, when you do the cross-hatching, you kind of want to make it just kind of all go the same way. It's almost like when you color with a marker, how if you kind of go crazy with it, all the strokes will show up and it'll look kind of weird. So you just kind of... Although I think I did kind of do this the inverse, didn't I? That should have been the shaded part, and then this one should... That's alright. No one will know, Just hit the undo button. This down onto his chin, maybe. A couple behind his head, maybe. A little bit of... what to do with the teeth. You know, that was that was kind of the big kicker there. I didn't really know. Some of that. A bit of here. Hair a little bit. Let's see. It's not too bad. It's pretty good so far. Let's see. It will be on this side though. I'm trying to, you know, like I said, envision where the shadows go. That side match. Yeah, looks alright. Probably continue this shadow on the bottom of his face, continue that across the thing, you know, a little bit. A little more down there. Sure, why not? Do the neck, then do the sweater. Of course, we're going to see, despite this arm kind of being behind him, it's not going to be completely in the dark. We are going to see some light on that. Of this down here, we're going to go ahead and just fill that part in. And then the hand too. Now I don't want to go too hard on parts of him that are supposed to be kind of white. Even though they're shadowed, I kind of want to delineate them a little bit from the rest of everything. So I'll go a little easier on the cross hatching there. Of course, I say that, but I did go pretty hard on his face. So, meh. Let's see. That's good. A little bit under the lip of the, I guess, the turtleneck part of the sweater, I guess is what that would be called. and definitely under where his, you know, where his clothes touches his body. So, when it comes to things like cross-hatching, most of the time, I would just stop at the line art, you know, like I would never really go beyond that, so it's kind of one of the excursions, you know, doing these streams. I kind of wanted to also have an excuse to kind of learn to do some of that as well. I did color in Gadget's nose completely when we did Gadget, so I'll do that for Buster and them. The more I look at the ear on the right, the more like I feel like I'm missing a, you know, maybe a little bit of shadow on it, you know. That's probably better. Sure. Just freestyle it, you know? Among my collection of stuff that I've amassed throughout my lifetime, I do have some of the original, like, 1991. They're like a foot or so tall, the stuffed animals of Buster and Babs. I think they were made by Play School. But they're the ones I had, they're like the ones I had when I was a kid. They're not the ones I had as a kid. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to those. But I have a Buster and a Babs. And somewhere, I remember my grandfather took me to, like, went to Target or something, and I got a little Calamity Coyote doll. But I don't remember the context for that. I still have Calamity somewhere. My Buster and Babs, though, I keep them in a nice little display case. They are collector's items, after all. I have a lot of weird odds and ends in my collection of stuff. I've got, like, in the 80s, they're probably still around, but the mascot is not. The grocery store chain Rogers. I've got a stuffed animal of their mascot, which is a cute little raccoon guy. I've got him. He's like... The one I have is, like, new with tags, so that's, you know... It's not exactly worth a fortune, but I thought it was a cool little guy to have. I have a little bendy figure of that guy, too. I've got I'm trying to think of all the. I can glance over there. Yeah, I've got a Chuck E. Cheese doll. That's also like 14 or 16 inches tall. It's the one you'd have to save up literally like 8,000 tickets for to get at the Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't do that. I found them at like a rummage sale or something, some church charity sale. I think I literally spent like $5 on him when I bought him, which was honestly a pretty good deal, all things considered, because, you know, you could, if you were short tickets at the Chuck E. Cheese, they would let you just like buy something outright. You could pay the difference and at the cost of one cent per ticket. So if you wanted to just buy Chucky outright, it would cost you $80, which you'd probably spend way more than that if you got it with tokens, because let's be real, the approximate cash equivalent of a Chuck E. Cheese token, it's like a quarter, right? Because you put in $1, they give you $4. You know, not counting when you'd put like $5 or $10 in, they'd give you like some bonus ones. But just for all intents and purposes, we'll call it a quarter. Yeah, you play those games at Chuck E. Cheese, you're not getting 25 tickets per go. You know, like that's the equivalent, right? Because if it's 25 cents, that's 25 tickets. So, you know, even if you're really good at skee-ball, you're not making it happen, okay? You know, like, so that $80 for the Chuck E. Cheese thing, the stuffed toy that probably cost them like $4 to have made, they're technically selling it to you for, well, at least $80. But far more than that if you're out there just, you know, just trying to slum it up, playing the Cyclone game and trying to stop that thing's rigged. Genuinely, read the service manual. It won't land on the jackpot until it's been played a certain amount of times. I don't see how that's like not illegal. I guess it's not illegal because it's technically not gambling, right? Because it's a thing for kids. No real money is, you know, trading hands or whatever. That was a Las Vegas machine that did that. Like, no. You know, they would hear about it. I think Buster looks alright. He's looking pretty good. I like him. I guess I could give him a little shadow underneath him, you know, just to kind of ground him. Babs will get one too. That looks kind of messy on the right. Alright, let me put this cap back on. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. I do have... no drinks are allowed on my drafting table, of course. Obviously, if something spills on this, not only is it going to ruin the paper, you know, there is a computer behind this thing, so... I think the Zeller's mascot was named Zeddy, the Zeddy Bear. My only knowledge of Zeller's as an American is when they... I don't think they were officially licensed, but Zeller's sold like bootlegs of actual Atari 2600 games. They have a whole page on AtariAge.com as a publisher, and I don't think they were doing that by the books. I'm going to erase the lines on Babs. I guess it probably was for the best that I didn't try to, you know, do all of this in one stream, because it's been about an hour 15 right now, and I'll probably be wrapping this up. What time? It's 9:20. We'll probably be finishing. We'll finish by 10. But yeah, if I would have kept doing this over the weekend, we would have been here till a while from midnight. That's right. You do say Z instead of Z. Which is to say, you say it wrong. Zeller's had bootleg Beanie Babies? Man, dude. I mean, based, right? Get that bag. We got these, they never threw away stuff. You found Digimon merch there years after the show was on TV? Good lord. We've actually been clearing out the warehouse where I work. And in the dumpster, a lot of crazy stuff has been in the skip as I walk through the parking lot to get to the offices. Like a broken popcorn machine. Like, they just pitched that. I don't know what was wrong with it. There's the very wasteful work. I was like, you could have probably sold that for like a couple $100. It's probably fixable. It needs a kettle. I didn't see a kettle. Maybe it was missing that. Like, you can buy those. And, they were throwing away a box. They weren't, name brands. They weren't Epson name brands. But they were, like, the ink ribbons for, like, old printers and registers and stuff like that. And they were still, like, I don't know how old they were, but they were still sealed in plastic and all that. So it was like, they might be dry, but somebody would probably want those, you know? Like, pick those things out of the trash and just sell them. But, of course, that you get in trouble doing that. Don't do that. Even though it's in the trash, you know, obviously you can't do that. You can't just pick something out of it. They have literally, by putting it in the dumpster, they have literally said, we do not want this. We are content with letting this go sit in a landfill forever because it's made of plastic. However, you cannot pick it out of our trash can and flip it on eBay. Bullshit, right? It's so bullshit. Alright, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing with Babs' eyes that I did with Gadgets. I'm going to kind of give her irises a little bit of life. Buster doesn't, he just has black eyes. Babs has the others. The little purple irises. Alright, so I kind of mentioned the light was coming down here. So this light's going to kind of be coming down here. Easiest thing to do would be, of course, to just shade in the bottoms of these ribbons, because those are not going to be getting any light whatsoever. I'm trying to think what else I've seen get thrown out. They broke a lot of stuff while they were trying to throw it out, though, so like a lot of things like shelving and things like that would actually be useful that you could, you know, use for even like in my case, you know, it's the holding your figurine collections and stuff like that, ha ha ha, but, you know, it's kind of pitching that stuff in the trash, too. So that. Don't really know why I'm focusing on the ribbons first. I think it's just kind of the first thing I looked at that wasn't her nose. You don't know the popcorn. It was kind of nice just seeing him take the cleanliness. I mean, despite the fact that they're throwing away stuff that's ostensibly useful, you know, seeing things that kind of cleaned up in the warehouse is nice. And the whole reason I was mentioning that is because you guys were talking about the knockoff, like Beanie Babies. The Neato toys and things that are really popular right now, we've got like, I mean, technically we're supposed to carry Neatos, but the problem is that nobody can keep them in stock. Because some influencer was like, on TikTok was like, yo, check this out. And then, you know, everybody has to have one. So we've kind of been filling that with like the bootleg, like knockoff ones from like Temu. And like these things, no safety standards whatsoever. Like some of them, the packaging is even trying to just look like Neato. And I was like, I don't think, we probably shouldn't be, you know, merchandising this stuff because it's probably some kind of liability. But, you know, it's not safety tested, of course. It's probably not non-toxic. We got those little dumplings, those little surprise dumplings, whatever they are, that have a different color in the, when you open them up, and like those, they smell like freshly like spray paint and varnish and things like that. They smell like chemicals. And it's not good. Just like, I know that like the actual little Nido toys, like your kid squeezes it too hard and it breaks or whatever, it's like they're probably fine, but you know, the kid squeezes one of these too hard, they'll probably get like 5 kinds of cancer or something, you know, I don't know. It's not good, in other words, is kind of the main takeaway here. We had those little squishy sticks of butter. That's like another viral TikTok thing. Is like the stress ball that is actually shaped like a stick of butter. It's kind of funny. I've seen them. I will admit, you know, I'm not a big TikTok guy, but it's a funny product. And we got knockoffs of those as well. And like when you squish them, the air that comes out, like it like genuinely smells like poop. It smells like sewage. I'm like, man, this is not good. You know, this is like. I mean, it could literally be what it's made from. It could have just been made from, like, rendered down raw sewage. Never be too certain when you're buying stuff off of Temu and Shane and Wish or wherever the hell these suppliers are at. There was a period where, like, buying things on Wish was, like, funny. And like now it's like it's just not really not having fun anymore, you know? I know Ashens does those videos on his channel where like he'll do like he'll get like an English word generator and like pop it in the first word he gets, he buys it off of Wish. It is Wish, right? It's not Temu. It's one of those. But yeah, he'll do that and just kind of roll with it, and it's funny, but you know, it is definitely, it is kind of losing its appeal. I'm gonna go back and kind of touch up the inside of Buster's ears real quick because it's just kind of bothering me. Kind of probably also his eyebrows maybe. Sure, that works. That works. She's got kind of this side of her face right here. I feel like Buster could probably deal with that. Then once it gets over on this side, a little heavier. You know, I was listening to music the other day. Like I thought I was talking about this earlier. I was listening to music the other day, and you know, when it shows the album cover, whatever you're listening to, and it takes up most of the screen on the little program I have, you know, Spotify or whatever. And the song came on that I'm familiar with, but it's one of those ones that I had never. I guess I just never seen the album cover. It was Pop Goes the World by Men Without Hats, and if you haven't seen the cover of that album, it's a giant baby face that just takes up the entire thing, and I wasn't prepared for that, so when I clicked over to that window to be like, oh, I remember this song, let me give it a thumbs up so it plays more like, oh my god, it's a giant child, I didn't realize this was Zombies Ate My Neighbors. like I'm kind of messing up on Bab's face a little bit. I'm doing a lot of it kind of unevenly as well. Might be contributing to it. Might be kind of a factor. Yeah, baby jump scare. That's better. Couple more Buster. It's got to be even. I guess we'll probably see some more highlights up on her shoulder up here, you know, because that's going to kind of be closer to the light. Babs is looking alright. I feel like I'm kind of going a little too hard on the cross-hatching on Babs, but, you know, it's alright. I am doing more on these characters than I did on Gadget. No particular reason, though. I just wanted to kind of, you know, like I said, get some practice and kind of be better at it and all that. I'm trying to think of, like, weird album covers now. Just thinking about the Men Without Hats one kind of got me thinking about it. Growing up, Peter Gabriel had a bunch of albums that were literally just called Peter Gabriel in the 70s, and one of them is a photo of him that was intentionally developed improperly, so it was kind of had this like melting effect. I didn't like the way that looked, because, you know, records are pretty big, you know. So my dad or my uncle, somebody in my family had a copy of that, and I didn't like looking at it. Again, just trying to keep things even on the other character whenever I do something on one of them, you know? guess it's kind of weird putting like crosshatch shading on cartoon characters, because like they don't really do this on the show. Like everything's very flat, colorful, kind of cell shaded and stuff like that. So that might be one of the reasons why like this kind of looks a little bit off to me, is that it's just not really what they do with the characters. Looks fine though. Like the more I look at it, the more, you know, the less I hate it. I am thinking about who I want to draw next. I was joking. We talk about Falco. You know, Chad also mentioned Kazooie. I like Kazooie. Should draw a bird. We did a mouse. Done some bunnies. You know, I don't want to stay too committed to, you know, one thing. I tell you what though, all these characters that I draw, the one that I'm just like not particularly good at, I'm really not good at canines. Like genuinely, I'm bad at wolves and all number of that. I just, you know, not my strong suit. It's like that Meatloaf song, I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. I won't do that. I have no confidence in my ability to draw canines. They will come out the derpiest looking, the derpiest dogs you've ever seen. It'll make the WikiHow dogs look, you know, tame in comparison. Good. And then this leg is actually slightly behind her. So I'm hoping if I put the shadows really heavy on this side, it'll kind of help make it pop against the other one. That's the intent at least. Maybe I went a little too hard on the other leg to kind of make it, you know, stand out like that. I think I did. That's alright. I think by doing the cross-hatching thing, it also kind of lets me skimp out on committing to maybe drawing feathers and stuff like that. I will say, it kind of looks a little strange doing shadows on the characters, I guess. It does look a little weird, but I don't know, because like I said, they're cell shaded, so it's also like all of the reference art I have of these characters really doesn't, or if the shading is done, it's in color, you know what I mean? So it's, kind of envisioning them in black and white is kind of a odd thing. I'm kind of, if my voice sounds distant right now, it's because I am kind of like standing back a bit, or leaning back rather. So I'm trying to see if, like, from far away, if there's anything that kind of sticks out as needing a little more work. Just kind of fine tune it. Yeah, I do think the angle of the cross-hatching did kind of change a bit on Babs. It's more this way here, and it's kind of a little further trending down on her, but it definitely is towards the bottom. It's not quite a 45-degree kind of thing, but that's alright. Like I said, I am sitting weird at my desk, so that's just something to kind of be mindful of in the future. Still looks good. I like it. Just, as an artist, you always find something that in your work to complain about first thing. That's just what you do. You get irrationally angry. You say that you're terrible at this, you're never going to do it again. This is it. You're going to do the Evel Knievel thing, okay? Like that guy, I loved Evel Knievel. God rest his soul. But you would see that man, and he would do like a stunt where he would jump over like 10 buses, and he never lands the jumps, dude. Like, he's like the best, worst stuntman there ever was. Dude lands on the motorcycle, like, back wheel first, cocked at 30 degrees, screws the whole thing up, eats shit, rolls on the ground for about as long as the jump was that he just tried to do. Stands up, has broken every bone in his body. And of course, the news crew that was out there to film him doing his stunt, he says the same thing every time. He's like, you guys have just watched me jump for the last time. I will never jump again. In that moment, I'm like, dude, I agree, man. You've broken like 400 of the 200 bones in your body. But then, 5 months later, he's doing it again. So that's really the essence of art. You look at it, you find all the faults, and then you're like, oh, I'll do it again. You break every bone in your body. I'll do it again. Well, I think that might be a good place to do the final thing, was just to put the signature on. Let's see. I signed the gadget one all the way up here, but there's already kind of text up here, where they're talking, so I don't want my signature to be up there with that and kind of clash with it. So I'm going to put it down in the right down here. I guess because I write this way, so I'd have a better chance at. There's also slightly more room right here, because the way I have Babs' feet done. And it is 2026. Very cool signature, very iconic signature. Worked on that for a long time. on my first go around when I was doing this stuff, I was like, yeah. You know how many times I scribbled my name to try to make it look cool? Anyways, I think that's a good point for this one, Buster and Babs. Kind of a two-parter. Like I said, I did the line art, and then I was like, this is taking a while, so I'll just end it here. And I'm kind of glad I did. What time we at? It's like an hour 40. Yeah. So that would have been it. I think the previous stream was an hour 40. I think an hour 38 or something like that. I was like, oh, we'll call it there. And of course, it didn't take me an hour and 40 minutes. There's about 10 minutes of the music playing, and then I did a brief catch-up for those of you who maybe missed the first one, and then my camera stopped working for a few minutes, so I had to fix that. So this took me like an hour and 20, hour and 15 if I'm being generous. So, but I think it went pretty well. So I guess I'll wind the stream down here. Thank you, everyone, for coming out, chatting with me, shooting the shit. I appreciate it, as always. I enjoy doing this stuff. It doesn't save any of my stuff to Picarto because I don't have the premium subscription. But you can, I have a YouTube channel, just LouisKohn on YouTube. I think I've got it linked in my Picarto profile, because it's like everything else is a social media thing for a project of mine that is not ready yet. So, I don't really use social media. I don't maintain a presence on Fur Affinity or So Furry or Ink Bunny or Weasel or DeviantArt. I don't use any of those websites. It's really not, I'm not really doing this because I want to put myself out there and be like, oh, look what I made. I'm just mostly doing this as kind of a social thing to kind of goof off and hang out. So appreciate you guys spending the evening with me. You can, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you don't catch me live. This was on Picarto. It is up at the top of the screen right there. You can follow me there if you want to see it live. Or, if you're just fine watching this on YouTube and putting it on as background noise when you're doing other stuff, that's fine too. That's why got a little bit of music and a little bit of banter there. But yeah, thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming out to the stream. I'm gonna hit the stop button now. There's just going to be a very hard cut, and the stream's going to go off. So I'll see you guys back here Saturday. I don't usually do a Wednesday stream. I just did that because I wasn't sure if I wanted to wait. I like to finish these all in one stream, but this took a while. So if I draw one character, if I keep it to one, I can do it all in one stream. Like I said, this got broken up into two, but I usually try to do Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central. So if you were watching this and wanted to catch it live, that's when you can expect to see me. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you when the weekend gets here.